It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. Arizona Game and Fish's Shelly Shepard is back with us. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I think I only saw you once this year.
I know. It's been a little while.
You failed in the middle of the year.
I know.
That's
I was
all right.
busy playing in the summer, right?
There you go.
Yeah, there you
exactly.
go.
Well, you brought a bunch of great stuff, and we're going to get to all this stuff in the towards the end of the show, but this is like gift ideas for the holidays. If you've got a hunter, bird watcher, anything dealing with nature, Game and Fish can help you out.
Yeah. Yep.
The first thing we want to jump into, and I've only done, I think, one story on a poaching case, and that was a couple weeks back. There was an elk poached, and I'm trying to remember where it was that the poaching took place. But you've got some that aren't solved and some that are solved that we want to talk about this morning.
Yes.
And just for those of us who don't know what poaching is, what is poaching?
Right. Poaching is, it's not hunting, and it's typically not done by what we call legitimate legal hunters. Poachers are people that have no regard for the laws that are in place to protect the wildlife in Arizona, and it's everything. The activity just ranges from shooting multiple animals to leaving animals in the field, taking things out of season. I mean, everything. Yeah. So I mean, in a nutshell, that's kind of how to explain.
See, well, I think poaching. I think, okay, I'm hungry. I go out. I shoot a deer. I shoot an elk. I shoot something, and then I eat it. But that's not just it, is it?
It may be what's going on out there.
Partially.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. And it's typically people that don't purchase licenses, don't obtain tags, try to take different species out of season, shooting from the roads, that kind of thing. It's all in there.
If I take a shot at an elk or a deer from the side of the road as I'm driving down just to check the sight on my rifle, or just because it's standing there, that's still poaching. If I shoot it and drive off, that's poaching.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, we have laws in place from shooting from vehicles in the roadways, and again, just randomly shooting at anything on the side of the road. Yeah, it's all in that category.
All right, let's
all bad.
It is all bad.
Yep.
Let's hit some of the poaching cases then.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about solved ones first, or the unsolved?
Let's talk about the two that we're working on right now.
Okay.
And you mentioned the one already. This is one that occurred on November 9th.
All right.
And this was in Unit 5A, and a lot of people don't know our game management units. And
I don't. What's 5A?
5A is near Happy Jack, Clint's Well. If you can kind of picture east of Highway 87, roughly that area, along the Rim Road. And that's why whenever we put out our press releases, we may mention game management unit, whatever. But I always try to give a good description of where the violation took place in our press release. Yeah, and it should help people. And the reason why we want to get specific about that location is, in many cases, there could have been somebody in the area at the time that the violation occurred.
Sure.
Whether they were out hunting, they happened to be driving down a road. They were driving down the road on their ATV and stopped for a minute and heard shots. There's so many possibilities that people may have seen or heard something, and it's our press release that may just trigger that memory and go, oh yeah, I was out during that weekend or whatever kind of thing. So the one on November 9th, this was a spike bull elk that was poached, and it was near the Blue Ridge Estate subdivision, which is near Highway 87 at about milepost 305.5. So if you can kind of picture that Clint's Well area, Blue Ridge area, roughly. We did not have elk season going on at the time. And this was somebody that shot from Highway 87.
Just took a shot at it because they saw it there.
Yep, saw it there.
More or less.
And could have gotten scared off by somebody coming down the road. Somebody was in the area and saw the individuals committing this violation, and they got nervous and took off.
Oh, I suppose that's a possibility.
So there's always the possibility they had the intention of taking something, but why didn't they? And there could be all sorts of reasons. And we've had animals completely whole left in the field. We've had just the heads taken. We've had only some of the meat taken during these poaching activities. So lots of possibilities.
Okay, but this one was not. This one was shot, it dropped, it's dead, it's laying there in the field.
Left to waste.
Now, how did you find out about it?
This one we actually, and that's a great question, so many of these cases that we're going to talk about, people called into our Operation Game Thief number.
So somebody walking out there
Yep, happened to come around. And because it was so close to the subdivision, I think these were some residents that have seen something and called us and gave us the information.
That was the Blue Ridge subdivision?
Blue Ridge Estate subdivision,
subdivision,
in unit what we call 5A, right around November 9th, sometime in the morning hours. And again, animal was left to waste, and we think somebody has some information about this case. And I think the other thing that we look at, well, two things, is I think sometimes a guilty conscience. Sometimes people will talk about it with somebody else, or they may just come forward. We also offer potential rewards on a lot of these cases, and this is, it could be a reward in a certain dollar amount, and we reference in our press release leading to the arrest of the individuals involved. What that means is that these individuals are cited. Would they be taken into custody as a potential? I don't know, depending on the case. And that's what it means when we say leading to the arrest, because a lot of people say Game and Fish, people, officers arrest people. Well, in some cases we do. And arrest also could mean a citation, which is issued into the courts.
Okay. What's our second case?
Yeah.
And I'll redo these and run them.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
The second case actually just happened last weekend.
Oh.
And this involves 4 cow elk. Yes, this is a significant number of animals. This was December 7th, which was a Saturday, roughly around 7:30 in the morning. And the other thing I wanted to mention, a lot of people ask, wow, that was so early. But when you're out hunting and let's say you do legally take an animal, there's a lot of time involved after the animal is down, from field dressing it to deciding if you can even get it out of there, how you're going to get it out of there. And so what I'm getting at is these individuals may have been around for a little while in this particular case. And so what occurred is the location of the violation was Game Management Unit 6B. This was along Highway 87. I'm sorry, Highway 89A. So if you're heading out of Flagstaff to Sedona.
Down Oak Creek Canyon.
Yeah.
Along the,
Right at where the Oak Creek Vista Overlook is.
Really?
Which is right before you drop off to the switchbacks.
That's the typical place to see them.
Yep. On the west side of the road, about a quarter mile in, we suspect these individuals went in. Hunters in the area reported hearing 13 shots. So we ended up with 4 dead animals, and these were all cow elk. These individuals ended up dragging 1 animal out and taking it with them and left 3 to waste.
So how do we know there was 4?
We have evidence of 1 being drugged, and then 3 carcasses were still in the field.
Gotcha.
Yeah, all animals were, the remaining 3 were left to waste. Like I said, this is a really significant case. The only vehicle description we have is, which is interesting, and this is why somebody may have seen this vehicle. They were parked on the west side of the freeway, southbound lanes, but facing north.
Okay, so they came up up the switchbacks and pulled off to the left and parked.
Pulled off to the left.
You always see cars right there.
Yeah, and facing the wrong direction sometimes catches your attention. And this vehicle is a silver pickup truck is all we have. So anytime somewhere around 7:30 in the morning, December 7th, and again, some other people may have been out in the field, heard the shots, or people driving by. I mean, it's cold out, but people are up and moving around on the weekends, and it's, you know, the holiday season kind of thing.
Sure.
They may have seen this vehicle parked and saw these individuals actually loading that particular elk that they took, and wherever they went. And so we really need some assistance on this case. The reward for this case is potentially up to $5,400 because it is the value of every single animal involved in the case.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anybody has any information, you call our Operation Game Thief line. I do have a case number, and anything. Again, this is that situation where somebody's hanging out, they start to brag about it. Somebody just magically comes home with elk meat, and it gets dispersed amongst friends and family. Somebody may go, well, wait a minute, I don't know the whole story behind this. Now, we don't even know in this case, did these individuals have any elk tags or not? There was an antlerless season going on, but right now we don't even know if these individuals even had tags.
But they didn't have a tag for 4 kills, that's for sure.
Yeah, potentially not even 4.
Yeah, we need to take a break.
Okay.
Game and Fish's Shelley Shepard in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll take a quick 2-minute break and be right back.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Hi, I'm Paul, proud owner of High Desert Pest and Weed Control, with a sincere thank you for voting as #1 3 years in a row.
Congratulations, Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, High Desert Pest and Weed Control offer 100% guaranteed positive results. So if you're fed up dealing with spiders, scorpions, roaches, and other pests, rely on a company that's been serving Sedona and the Verde Valley since 1998. Call Mr. Paul at 639-4444. That's 639-4444.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. It's good to have you along. I'm Paul David. Shelley Shepard from Arizona Game and Fish Department in studio today. We talked about some poaching cases that aren't solved. We've got some solved ones, though, which is good news.
Which is really good news. Yeah, I always, every time I talk to you guys or put information out, it's always, we need help and we have unsolved cases. But
before we get into it, we should probably say Operation Game Thief is 1-800-352-0700. The phone number's up here, but we'll make mention of that again before the show's
and
out.
That's the Game and Fish Silent Witness. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which a lot of people aren't familiar with. So we have 2 solved cases, all because people called into the Operation Game Thief line. And at the end of November, we had 2 individuals out hunting in Unit 5B, which is kind of near the Winona, which is south of I-40. Okay. It's sort of east of Flagstaff. And we had somebody that observed 2 individuals. They shot an elk. Walked up to it, realized it was the wrong sex. It was a cow during a bull season, and then they walked away. The people that observed this actually were able to describe the individuals, the clothing they were wearing, a backpack, the rifle. And after we got the call, we went out with the Sheriff's Department and Forest Service law enforcement officers, kind of really searched the area, looked for these individuals, and finally at about 5 o'clock that same night, one of our officers actually made contact with 2 individuals fitting the description. So questions started to get asked, vehicle was looked into, clothing was looked at, and we were able to establish that these were probably the individuals. They were interviewed, and finally the one, his name is Eric Riggs from Loop, 33 years old, did admit to shooting the cow during the bull season. The other individual with him was 53, also from Loop, Harvey Riggs, and they also drove across illegally, drove cross country to set up a camp. So Eric Riggs was cited for 4 violations, and Harvey Riggs was cited for 1 violation. Ooh. All based on the fact that somebody was in the area and called it in.
Took the time to call. Yep.
Another case that we made right at the beginning of December, somebody was out in the field, ended up finding 2 elk heads and 3 elk hides in what we call Unit 7 East, which is sort of north of Flagstaff, right around San Francisco Peaks. Evidence found in the field led us to an individual, Porfirio Gonzalez, 51, from Tolleson. We went down there to the valley, did an interview with him, and he did confess to shooting all 3 of the elk and did not have a tag. And so we issued several citations to that individual, and we are still in the process of gathering up all of the meat that was distributed, because, you know, with 3 elk, that's a lot of meat. And
right.
we are slowly making contact with all the people that he...
And how did you catch up with this guy, Porfirio?
This was another Operation Game Thief. Somebody saw the elk heads and the carcasses in the field, the hides, and there was evidence in the field that led us back to him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were able to trace it back to him. It was great. Yeah, I mean, here's another case. We had 3 animals lost, and now he will go through the court process and potentially even through the revocation process. And so hopefully this individual won't be hunting in Arizona and other states for a long time.
That is the penalty, right? Normally it's several big fines, and then your license is revoked for ever, or is it just a period of time, or it depends on the discretion of the judge?
Yeah, well, actually, the license revocation is not through the court system. The court will take care of the criminal violations and the fines. These individuals then go in front of the Game and Fish Commission.
Gotcha.
And the commission decides whether people will be revoked and for how long. And the other thing about that is the revocation. We are part of what's called the Violator Compact, and the Violator Compact includes 48 other states and provinces. So if somebody gets revoked in Arizona, they're pretty much done in all of the other states that are part of this compact. So they won't go hunting in Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, whatever. There's so many states involved that they're pretty much done. Some now, people, they get revoked and they still go, and they still
Right, I was going to say, there's those people that just don't care, but if they get caught again, then I would imagine it's far more serious.
It's going to get worse, and that's where we may see somebody with consecutive years of revocation. And we have a few lifetime revoked people from Arizona.
The ones that just don't get it, huh?
They just don't get it. They don't care.
Now, when does hunting season for elk end and deer?
We still have some elk seasons and deer seasons going on right now. Then there is a little bit of a break, but as soon as January rolls in, we're starting to have archery deer seasons. Archery javelina will start soon, and then we get into javelina and spring bear and spring turkey. So there is never really a major break, especially where we are based out of Flagstaff. We're a busy region. There's hunts all the time.
Gotcha.
So people that are out, remember our number. And even if you're a non-hunter, you may be at a place and time where you see something that just isn't right. Call it. Call it in.
Real quick answer on this one. If you see an elk side of the road hit by a car and it has a nice set of antlers on it, am I allowed to just stop and pick those up and take them?
You're not allowed to take them.
Okay.
The only person that can salvage any part of that animal is the person that hit the animal.
Okay.
Yep, and you have to obtain what we call a salvage permit for that. And most law enforcement officers working those roadways have those permits.
Or I just come into Game and Fish real quick, get one from you, and I go back out there if I want to.
You could do that, but it's easier just to call either Operation Game Thief. And honestly, a lot of people that end up hitting an animal, their vehicle's damaged, there's probably an accident of some sort involved,
Right.
and usually DPS or a county officer gets there long before us. They should have the permits.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's a great question. We get asked it a lot, so.
You know, Checkpoint recently.
Yes, we did.
Looking for illegal game taking.
Yeah, we've been running a few checkpoints late summer and during the hunting season. And late summer, we were actually out of the Williams area looking for people that were coming out of the lakes to see if we had over limits of fish or any other game violations. And our recent checkpoint, we were on the Stoneman Lake Road, and this was during the hunting season. So we contacted over 100 vehicles. We had folks that were coming in and out of the area hunting, off-highway vehicle riding, people just out for the heck of it. And we had a couple of game violations, and we did have an off-highway vehicle violation. So, you know, well worth it. It wasn't a gazillion tickets, but I think just the fact that we're out and in sort of random areas, and we go through a whole paperwork process to have these checkpoints approved. But you know, I think they're gonna pay off. We're gonna get some violations every time, probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another break.
Okay.
Arizona Game and Fish's Shelley Shepard in studio today. I'm Paul David. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with more Countywide.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Hi, I'm Paul, proud owner of High Desert Pest and Weed Control, with a sincere thank you for voting as #1 3 years in a row.
Congratulations, Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, High Desert Pest and Weed Control offer 100% guaranteed positive results. So if you're fed up dealing with spiders, scorpions, roaches, and other pests, rely on a company that's been serving Sedona and the Verde Valley since 1998. Call Mr. Paul at 639-4444. That's 639-4444.
Back to Countywide. Great to have you along. We got a few minutes left in the program. A couple of other things we want to make sure we mention is Game & Fish has got a lot of great stuff for holiday gift ideas. This book right here, I wish I'd known about this last year. I'd have gotten this one for my dad.
Oh, yeah. It is a really great book. Arizona Breeding Bird Atlas gives a lot of great information and locations of bird species throughout Arizona. For the birder, this is the book. Yeah, this is the book. It's $50 from the Game & Fish office.
It's heavy.
It is a big book. So it's not one of those field guide books where you can just haul around. Yeah.
Right. And then you've got these three back here, which is kind of a storyline.
It is.
They go together.
This is a 3-book series, and it pretty much is covering the history of people, or man and woman, in Arizona and wildlife at the time. And so it starts out back in 1824 to 1865.
Awesome.
And then the next one picks it up in 1863 to 1912. And then this is 1912 to 1962. I've read the first 2 books. I'm ready to read this last third book. Really great information for those folks interested in what was going on in Arizona at that time. More of a historical record on wildlife than anything else. It's kind of cool.
All right, awesome. Okay, so that's some great ideas. And if you got questions about the rules and regulations, you guys have got your hunting rules and regs at Game & Fish
Always
offices
available,
and wherever you can buy a license. And that's our last thing. We've got about a minute left, but we have a new restructured license format for those of us who hunt and fish.
Yes, and the major thing is a couple of things. Is the licenses now when you purchase, the license is valid from that date and a full year after.
Thank you so much.
So it's not calendar year,
really
it's from
nice.
date of purchase.
Right.
We did have some major changes as far as sort of bundling. We went from 40 different license options to 6. And so, for example, the fishing license is now $37. Everything's pretty much included. Hunting is now $37, and the combination is $57. And so your stamps, your trout stamps, everything. There's so much that is now included in these different licenses. The one to really notice, our youth combination license is $5.
Oh, wow.
And this is for ages 10 to 17. So that's a little bit of a change. People were used to us saying, once you hit 14, that you need a license. Now it's going to be 10, but it's only going to be $5. And so this is a great value for people with kids. And we want to get folks out buying licenses. Everything's pretty much effective January 1, 2014.
Awesome. Well, it's great seeing you.
It was great seeing you, too.
Have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays to you, too.
Thank you so much. That is Arizona Game & Fish's Shelley Shepard. I'm Paul David. That's today's Countywide program. We'll talk to you again next time. Get the hell out.